Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Pregame Show, where we are going to break down Bucs versus Cardinals. The Bucs are back home for the first time in a couple of weeks, and they are trying to break a 3-game losing streak. There are a lot of reinforcements on the way: Bucky Irving, Jamel Dean, Hassan Reddick, plus a lot of conversation around Baker Mayfield as well. So let's get into today's show. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is the face that runs the place at PewterReport.com, SR, Scott Reynolds. Scott, how we doing?
Good morning. Doing really good. Get my camera a bit. There we go. I'm a little less blurry now. Good morning. And this is an important stretch here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the good news is, we talked about it for several weeks, Matt. The cavalry had to come, and it seems like it's on the way. A lot of injured Buccaneers over the last couple of weeks that have been missing in action, expected to return today. One of those, well, let's start off with the quarterback, Baker Mayfield, who was last seen crumpled on the turf at SoFi Stadium, injuring that left AC joint. But Matt, according to Todd Bowles, he has made just about a complete recovery from that. Now, the thing is he has not taken a hit to that shoulder. They don't do any hitting in practice, so that kind of remains to be seen. But your thoughts about Baker Mayfield starting today for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah, Todd Bowles said he progressed during the week, but I don't know how much that means. I mean, Todd Bowles thought Baker Mayfield was fine after he threw that touchdown pass to Tez Johnson against the Rams, grabbing his shoulder and said, all right, yeah, he's fine. He can go out there and throw a Hail Mary. Well, clearly he could not. So, I mean, we're not there during the private sessions of practice. Maybe Baker looked phenomenal during the week. He certainly was in good spirits when we spoke to him during that Wednesday press conference, which we have every week with Baker Mayfield. So I don't know. I can't sit here and say that I'm 100% confident that Baker's going to get through the game or that he's going to look pretty good. I mean, he's struggled over the past, 3 games since coming out of the bye. So yeah. I don't know. I'm going to look very cautiously at this. I can't, again, sit here and say that, wow, Baker's going to be fantastic. It will certainly help having Bucky Irving and maybe more snaps from Chris Godwin in this game as well. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about how Baker's going to do today.
Yeah, I think that the thing that's interesting, right, is Teddy Bridgewater took the majority of reps at practice this week. We do know that. Now, did he take the majority of reps on Friday? That we don't know, because Todd Bowles said he would take a lot of the starting reps, and Josh Grizzard even kind of reinforced that too, just to get ready and be prepared. It's noteworthy, though, that the Buccaneers did sign to the roster Connor Bazelak, who is the third-string quarterback. He's the practice squad quarterback. Beat out Kyle Trask in the preseason. Very, very efficient, accurate quarterback. Played at Bowling Green, and he's has a bright future. Not really a starting caliber quarterback, at least that we know of right now, but certainly maybe a guy that can eventually elevate to number 2 if he continues to progress behind the scenes. I will say this: I've been told that in one off season, Bazelak showed as much as Kyle Trask did in 4 years. In terms of his development. So at the very least, he's Kyle Trask, right? We don't know who he is or how he can play in live action. Hopefully we don't need to see that, but interesting to note that he is active today. I would expect that he'll be active today. They signed him to the active roster on Saturday. That's a pretty good indication that he will be dressed for today. And that's smart too, because if Baker Mayfield goes out there and takes a hit on that shoulder early on, and is knocked out of the game, then you've got Teddy Bridgewater in there, and you want to have another quarterback just in case you're one play away from something happening to Teddy. And Josh Grizzard was not very forthcoming in terms of revealing who that emergency quarterback is, Matt, and hopefully we never have to find out.
Yeah, I mean, I get it's news that Connor Bazelak got signed to the active roster, but to be honest, I don't really care. Like, if he's in the game, there's way more issues for the Bucs than, hey, Connor Bazelak's on the roster.
Yeah.
Congrats to Connor Bazelak on getting a game day check. So
yeah,
hats off
that's
to
right.
him.
Yeah. Well, and again, we hope that we never have to see him do anything other than hold
Yeah,
a clipboard today.
exactly.
That would be disastrous for the Buccaneers. But plenty of good news to report. Let's go right to the injury reports, and take a look at how the players have been progressing during the week and what we can expect today. So the injury report, as presented by Jorgensen Law PA, the official attorneys of Pewter Report. You can visit them on the web at jorgensenlawoffice.com or give them a call at 727 347 7733. That's 727 347 7733, jorgensenlawoffice.com. Benjamin Morrison is out today. Another person that is technically out is Rashad Wisdom, but he is not really even on the active roster yet. They opened up his 21-day practice window, and he is recovering from a quad injury. He's out, so he's not on here, but he's technically not on the roster yet. So Morrison is out, not with a hand injury. That's a typo on me, folks. It's a hamstring injury. But Anthony Nelson, ribs, Jamel Dean, hip, Bucky Irving, shoulder, Hassan Reddick, ankle, Ben Bredesen, hamstring, Baker Mayfield, shoulder. All those questionable players are expected to play today, Matt. This is as healthy as the Buccaneers have been in quite some time.
Yeah, it's almost insane that they're going into a game where they're the less injured team going against the Cardinals, because the Cardinals have a laundry list of injured players that were on the injury report throughout the week as well. It's exciting to actually see these star players for the Bucs get out there and go and play. I'm pumped up to watch Bucky Irving. I think Ben Bredesen, if he's able to go, will add even more of a boost to this running game, which has been pretty good over the last 2 weeks, really coming out of the bye as well. The last 3 weeks, we saw the impact that Luke Gedeke had
Yeah.
coming back at right tackle. I think Ben Bredesen over at left guard, if he's able to return as well, could really pay dividends for this Bucs team that is going to have to rely on the running game, knowing this injury situation with Baker Mayfield as well. So
Yeah.
Bucky and Bredesen, I think, could be a nice combo today, and a not necessarily a duo, but two players that I'm probably most excited to watch during today's game.
Yeah, I am too. It'd be interesting to see how many reps, how many carries Bucky Irving gets in this game.
Yeah.
I would imagine that we'll probably see a series from each of the three running backs early on, Matt, and that'll kind of determine who has the hot hand. And that's typically what Josh Grizzard and Todd Bowles like to go with, is whoever has the hot hand gets the majority of carries. And the last couple weeks has been Sean Tucker. He's done a phenomenal job, starting with that Buffalo Bills game up there where he ran for over 100 yards. But it will be interesting to see. I'm also interested to see the progression of Chris Godwin, who only had 2 catches for 9 yards, including a third down conversion catch. And I'm just curious to see how far back we can get to Chris Godwin being closer to the Godwin of old. I'm not sure if that's going to happen this season or happen this week. I'm not sure, but I'm curious to see the progression of Chris Godwin, how much progress he can make in terms of production, because at the end of the day, this is a results-oriented business. You can go out there and run around and, try to get open, but if you can't get open and you can't catch the ball, I don't want to say you have to move on, but
Right.
but we need to see, if I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we need to see guys who can go out there, create separation, catch the ball, make plays, right? And I'm just not sure if Chris Godwin is there yet.
Yeah, Chris Godwin Jr. very much on a pitch count last week. I think played about 25 snaps. And yeah, I don't know. It's I feel a little uneasy when it comes to Chris Godwin Jr. It's great that he was back, but how much of an impact did he necessarily have? He had 2 catches for 9 yards. So if he's going to play more in this game, what type of impact will he have? Will it be statistical? Will he have more catches? Is he going to be a lead blocker on screens or certain running plays and things of that nature? I would hope eventually Chris Godwin Jr. can be the vintage Chris Godwin that we all know and love, but it's not something that I'm forecasting. It's not something that I'm writing down saying, hey, Chris Godwin Jr. back today. But anything you could really get out of him, I think, would be an added bonus for this team. I think the Bucs can still win and can still be a successful team for the rest of the year, even if they're not getting the caliber of Chris Godwin Jr. that we all want to see.
Mm-hmm.
But if they are able to get it, I think it kind of changes the conversation and changes the overall outlook of this team as well going down the stretch.
Yeah. And maybe if Chris Godwin Jr., if he can't get back to being that threat that he's paid handsomely to be, and if that ankle injury doesn't fully respond, maybe there's somebody else that can help the Buccaneers down the stretch. Ian Rappaport is reporting that Jalen McMillan, who we reported last week is not wearing a neck brace anymore, has been cleared to return to practice. And we expect that 21-day practice window to be open for J-Mac next week. So we're going to be all eyes on number 15 at practice to see if he, in fact, does return to the practice field. He'll have 21 days to practice before the team has to activate him to the active roster. As you know, Jalen McMillan has been on injured reserve since that scary neck injury in which he suffered some broken bones in his neck, as well as straining some ligaments and muscles in that neck after that nasty fall from being upended by Joey Porter Jr. in Pittsburgh in that second preseason game. And, Matt, the 21-day practice window is open. He'll have 3 weeks to practice. If he's deemed where he can't return, then he'll go on IR for the rest of the year. But it seems that this is a really good news here, because I think if J-Mac can come back in maybe not next week, but 2 weeks, maybe either against the Falcons or that Panthers game in Charlotte, the next domino to fall after that is Mike Evans.
It really is. And if Jalen McMillan can come back, it changes the dynamic for the passing game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers until Mike Evans comes back. And it's a little added extra boost until Mike is back as well. So as tentative as I am about Chris Godwin Jr., I'm super excited about Jalen McMillan. That was a scary situation with his neck injury that happened in the preseason game. But he's been behind the scenes working hard. He's been at some practices. He's been in the locker room a little bit. When I say he's been at some practices, just him walking out there, standing around and watching. But, I mean, that's a huge sign for the Bucs. It's tough for any team to get like an added extra boost towards the end of the season. And the Bucs are getting it in droves, whether it's all the players coming back today, whether it's Jalen McMillan next week or the next 2 weeks, Mike Evans as well. You don't want to forecast injuries and predict things like that. But, I mean, this could be gigantic for Tampa Bay if Jalen McMillan is able to rock and roll in the next couple of weeks. Yeah,
and I guess we need probably to talk about Jamel Dean, too, who's been the best cornerback. Yeah. He's coming back today. I just got that confirmed, too, by the way. Everything I said is true. Not that you shouldn't believe me, but we were anticipating all of the players who were listed as questionable being ready and willing for this game, and that will be a fact. There will be no game time decision. So all of the players that were listed as questionable, except for Benjamin Morrison, who's out, but Anthony Nelson, Jamel Dean, Bucky Irving, Hassan Reddick, Ben Bredesen, and Baker Mayfield, all of those players will be playing today against the Cardinals. And Matt, this is a must-win game. I talked about it on a Pewter Pulse video. You and I have talked about it on the podcast. This is to me, it's unforgivable. If you lose to a 3-8 football team, can they still make the playoffs? Absolutely. Can they still win the NFC South? Sure they can. But how seriously should we take the Buccaneers if they can't beat a 3-8 Cardinals team? Now, a Cardinals team that has actually played pretty close to their opponents. This should not be an easy rollover win. I think all of the Pewter reporters predicted a Buccaneer win today, but maybe by a touchdown or less. That's kind of what this game's going to feel like to me. If you look back at last week, the Cardinals took the Jacksonville Jaguars, the team that's leading. We're not leading their division, but they're in the playoff picture right now with 7 wins. Took them to overtime, and the Jaguars prevailed. But this is a Cardinals team that the Bucs really can't take lightly, and so maybe it's a good idea Baker Mayfield at least tries to give it a go. Jacoby Brissett, even though he's 1-5 as a starter in Arizona, he's thrown 11 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions.
Yeah, he's a veteran that's beaten the Bucs before in that infamous game with the Cleveland Browns, beating Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming out of the bye. So Jacoby Brissett knows what he's doing at this point, not just because he's a veteran, but he's started a handful of games for the Cardinals this season already. Looks like they're going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. back as well. That's gigantic for that team. So it really comes down to what type of defense is going to show up for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've seen the last 3 games, they've been putrid. They've been abysmal, awful, whatever word you want to use to describe it. That's how bad the Bucs defense has played. But you get Hassan Reddick back, and I know he hasn't been the guy that we wanted to see, but at least it's something for this pass rush that has been absent and invisible since coming out of the bye. You have Jamel Dean coming back. So is this going to be the group that is allowing 40-plus points per game or 34 or whatever the case may be? Or is this going to be the group that feasted on a backup in Mac Jones with the 49ers, the New Orleans Saints, whatever you want to call that entire situation? I want to lean towards them feasting on lesser teams, but to your point, the Cardinals have been competitive. They've gotten the best or the worst out of some of their other opponents. So, hopefully Hassan Reddick can make an impact coming back. Maybe Jamel Dean gets his hands on the football again. But I don't think it's a cakewalk by any means in this game.
Yeah, I think part of the thing too with Hassan Reddick is, he doesn't have to necessarily come back and have a sack or 2 today to make an impact. I think his presence on the field, Matt, I think everyone can agree Hassan Reddick is better than Chris Braswell, right? So if you look at the dominoes, if you look at the chain reaction, the more that Hassan Reddick plays, the less that Anthony Nelson plays. And the more that Anthony Nelson plays, the less that Chris Braswell plays. So my point is having Hassan Reddick back is essentially taking away snaps and reps from Chris Braswell. And that's a good thing, because I just don't think this guy's going to amount to anything in a Buccaneer uniform. Hope I'm wrong, but I have seen zero signs of this guy becoming anything outside of just a rotational pass rusher who can set the edge and make tackles and help you in the run game, but doesn't really collapse the pocket, doesn't really threaten the quarterback with this pass rush. So to me, that's the benefit of having Hassan Reddick back, is I like his chances of getting the quarterback a lot more than I like Chris Braswell's. And so to me, he's number one, then Anthony Nelson, and you're still going to see some Chris Braswell, right? Because that Braswell-Nelson line is going to be there. But it might be a situation too where on obvious passing downs, if Yaya Diaby and Hassan Reddick aren't in there, maybe this team goes with Marquise Watts and with Anthony Nelson. At least Watts brings a little bit more speed and juice off the edge. Not that it's effective, but maybe it just looks better. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Chris.
And there's going to be a lot of conversation about edge rushers today because they are inducting Simeon Rice into the Bucs Ring of Honor, and it's very well deserved. So it's good timing with this $49.99 super chat from Tampa Bay Hammy. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So very much for this super chat. Says, with Simeon going into the ring today, it is making me take a look back. Listen, that defense was stacked, but I don't think there was a more impactful player who took over games more than Simeon Rice. Took over that NFC Championship and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was an absolute freak. I loved covering Simeon when he was here. On the field and off the field, he was interesting in the locker room. He had his own language. He was from the planet Simeon, and he was absolutely one of a kind. Still to this day, the best athlete I've ever seen up close and in person, and certainly one that I've covered. In my opinion, he's the best athlete the Buccaneers have ever had. Really just didn't get tired. It was incredible. His stamina was absolutely incredible. I just didn't see him get tired in games, and not even in practice. I remember training camp, the famous story I've told before, if you'll indulge me for about 20 seconds. The Buccaneers had 2-a-day practices over in Orlando under John Gruden over in Celebration, right? And that second practice was just brutal. The first one was in the morning. Second one, there's no wind over there in Central Florida. So you have an afternoon practice, heat of the day. And then after that practice, they would have conditioning where certain players had to run, across the field, 53 yards or so across the field and do a couple of laps. And never forget, Simeon Rice is out there with John Lynch and a couple other A-list guys, about a dozen players. And Lynch and those guys are absolutely gassed. And Rice, after practicing for well over 5 hours in that day, was just bounding across like a gazelle in the Serengeti, just like boom, 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 just springs in his legs, sprinting, not even jogging, sprinting back and forth. And I just thought, this guy is just one of a kind. And he was, and absolutely one of my favorite players of all time. Deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think him getting into the Bucs Ring of Honor, it's late. And honestly, the Lasers, they really screwed up. They should have done this years ago, because I think that would have helped his candidacy this year. The fact that he's going in, better late than never, but he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's phenomenal pass rusher.
Yeah, hopefully it can reignite the conversation once again. And
Yeah.
I think one of the cool things as well is, kind of in the build up to this big ceremony for him, we've seen Warren Sapp, Rondé Barber,
Yeah. John Gruden
as well. Like, they're all giving, kind of messages. And really the main key point out of anyone who's really talked about Simeon Rice and in these videos is he was the last missing piece to putting on a phenomenal, sensational defense. He was the guy that they needed to, dot the I's, cross the T's, all of that good stuff. He made a great defense fantastic with what he was able to do. So it'll be awesome to see him enshrined today and getting praise from the fans, because he definitely deserves it.
And it should be noted, he was the missing piece as an edge rusher. And that's really what the Buccaneers are missing. They're missing that elite edge rusher. It's not Hassan Reddick. I don't think he's going to get re-signed. I think he's closer to being the player we saw with the Jets last year than the player that they hoped they were getting, which was a double-digit sacker those final 2 years in Philadelphia. Yaya Diaby's not that guy. They're going to I think Yaya can be an okay outside linebacker 2 or 3 on the depth chart, but they need that alpha. They got to find somebody.
They do. We got a couple super chats to get to, so thank you to Kings Are Awful for the $1.99. Says Baker playing, coaching malpractice by Bowles? ?
We'll find out if Baker comes out of this game unscathed. Then the gamble paid off. If Baker gets re-injured and maybe hurt even worse, then Bowles is going to get criticized for it. But I'll say this at the same time, this is a must-win game, and if you can't win it with Teddy Bridgewater, there's a part of me that's like, what are we doing here? Like, you're not a good enough team to where you can't beat the Cardinals with Teddy Bridgewater and all of these supporting cast members coming back. Part of me thinks that. The other part of me says, you only have 17 of these every year, 17 games. And if you can play, then play. And do everything you can to get wins, because as it stands right now, what the most wins they're going to be able to get is 12. I don't think they're going to get the 12. They might get to 11 if they catch fire here. 10 seems reasonable. 10 seems to be the expectation for me at this point. 9, I'm not going to say it would be a disaster, but I wouldn't feel confident about a 9-win Buccaneer team, even if you win the division, doing anything in the playoffs. So cross your fingers, Bucs fans. Let's see if Baker Mayfield comes out of this game unscathed. I will say this. If I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm telling my offensive lineman today, guys, I can't get touched. Okay? Like, it's not even about giving up sacks. I can't get hit today, right? Now, if I scramble around and I take a hit, that's on me. But in the pocket, like, you have to be the Secret Service today. I can't take a hit. Like, you got to be perfect today. And we'll see if that happens. We'll see if that ends up coming to pass.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more on the line than we realize. Like, yes, it's a Cardinals team that's 3-8 that the Bucs should beat, but this tells a lot more for their playoff implications if they're not able to beat a team like this.
Yep.
Thank you to Kendrick Flores for this $1.99 super chat. Says J-Mac is back, baby, with a couple of exclamation points and in all caps as well. Not playing today, but yes, returning to practice is gigantic for this team, for Jalen McMillan, considering the seriousness of this injury. Very, very happy for Jalen McMillan. I already penciled him out for the entire year, to be honest with everybody, but looks like he's going to be able to go.
We'll see. Yep.
And Mark Fisher, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Says, happy Christmas season. SR, at first you seemed high on Teddy Bridgewater, more so than now. what happened? Great chance to go up to a game today with Carolina versus Los Angeles.
Yeah, I think for me, it's yeah, it's not that I'm not high on him. He's a better backup than Kyle Trask, just in terms of experience and all that. And there's, I don't know. I could see Teddy Bridgewater playing in this game and winning it, and I could see him playing in this game and losing it. I think for me, Teddy's kind of a hired gun. He's not a Buccaneer. He's a player that you're renting for the year. He seems a little bit like a hitman, a mercenary coming in. I remember asking him, like, does the quest for an elusive Super Bowl ring, does that fuel you wanting to come back and play? He's like, nah, not really. And I'm like, that just, it didn't sit well with me, right? Because to me, I want players that have championship mindsets. We're all in this to win a Super Bowl. That is the stated goal. And does it define your career if you don't win a Super Bowl? No, absolutely not. Doesn't mean that Dan Marino wasn't a good quarterback. He was a Hall of Famer, one of the best pure passers this game has ever seen. There's been plenty of great players that never won a Super Bowl or even got to the Super Bowl. But Teddy has a little bit of kind of laissez-faire attitude, and I don't know him that well. I've literally had a couple of conversations with him. But it just, if Teddy Bridgewater were to play in this game and they lose, I don't think it devastates Teddy Bridgewater like it would a Tristan Wirfs or an Antoine Winfield Jr. or whatever. So I don't know. Hopefully it's a moot point. Hopefully he never has to play a single down for the Buccaneers the rest of the season, and Baker Mayfield continues to play. I don't know. He's just kind of an odd guy for me, and I really haven't gotten a beat on him and what his driver and motivation is. I mean, he wants to help the team. Like, I get that. He's happy to be here. He didn't have to do this, right? He signed with the Buccaneers. So, like, all of those things check good boxes. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you look at the career of Teddy Bridgewater, this was a guy that had a serious injury in practice when he was the starting quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings that, threatened his career, and he was able to, bounce back through it, but also lost his starting job and then really had to navigate the rest of his career. So I think Teddy Bridgewater has probably more of like an outlook on life of like just being grateful and being thankful that he's still able to be in the NFL. Now it's not the same, let's grind it out, let's go insane the way that Baker Mayfield is. And I don't know, like, if Teddy Bridgewater was playing in the Super Bowl, I don't think he's going to be like, oh man, I didn't connect that pass. Like, I guess we lose the Super Bowl. Like, I don't think he's going to be like that. He is very chill. He's very kind of relaxed in that sense. And I don't know, maybe that's what got him to the dance in the first place. I don't know, it's tough to kind of really decipher.
Yeah.
Paul Bowen, thank you for the $1.99 super chat, says today starts the 6-game winning streak. Yeah, I mean, this is the Todd Bowles playbook. It's lose 3 games in a row, sometimes 4 games in a row.
Right.
They can't have a 4-game losing streak this year going up against the Cardinals, but once they get through that losing streak, they win nonstop. So again, this plays right into the hands of what Todd Bowles is as a head coach.
We got him right where we want him, right? That's what Todd Bowles would say. I do like this comment here from Gator Bait Matt, and congratulations to the Gators for winning yesterday and depriving Florida State from a bowl. That was a consolation prize for kind of a bad season in Gainesville. He says we need to take Teddy's gloves and give them to K-Dot. Yeah, I'm in favor of that. I'm sorry, I'm on the warpath about K-Dot in this year and the gloves. It's like, and the thing is like I've actually like put on some NFL gloves. Like, they're tacky, they're almost sticky, and that's why you see all these great one-handed catches. Some of it's luck, some of it's skill, some of it's the gloves, man. It's like when you see these guys, do the Odells and all that stuff now, it's the gloves. I mean, the ball just kind of sticks to them. And for Cade to have not one, but 2 instances where he's literally had a ball ripped from him by a defensive back. And of course that was Kobe Durant in LA. and return that for a touchdown. That can't happen. It happens once, okay, like fluke play. It's happened twice now. Where he literally has had a ball ripped out of his hands by a guy with gloves, and turned into an interception for Baker Mayfield. If I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm pulling a Tom Brady, and saying, wear some damn gloves, because that's what happened back in 2022, Kate Otton's first season. He dropped a pass or something like that in a preseason game, and Brady was like, actually, it wasn't preseason; it was training camp. They didn't have preseason back then.
Yeah,
and Brady was like, dude, like, wear some gloves. Why do you think everyone's wearing gloves? Like, because it helps you catch the ball. And he did, and he caught touchdowns, game-winning touchdowns against the Rams and the Saints that year. Clutch moments, and then now he's taking them off because I guess he knows best. So I don't know.
Jordan Peters, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, go to my first Bucs game in Tampa as a fan from Minnesota.
Very cool.
Truly looking forward to being there in person, hoping for no more injuries. Yes, that would be fantastic for this team if they can get through a game unscathed. And Jordan, hope you have a fantastic time at your at the Bucs game today. That's awesome. Great time to make the trip from Minnesota, where I'm guessing it's snowing based on all the other games around the league and college football where it was snowing. And have an awesome time at the game today.
Yeah. As Ava and family says, yes, Scott, when I bought my son gloves for flag football 6-7 years ago, I was stunned that players miss catches they miss. It's like flypaper. I've been saying it for years. Yeah. I don't understand. Like, that would be like saying, you know what? I don't understand what cars are all about. I've got a horse and buggy. It gets me from point A to point B. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like, oh, Matt, hey, sorry, I've got to leave right now during the show to go to the stadium on my horse and buggy, right? Where it takes me 40 minutes to drive. I guess I've got to allow for 2 hours, 3 hours to get there with my horse and buggy. Like, what are we doing? I just don't understand.
Yeah, when I'm on a plane, I just want to listen to my music out loud. I don't want headphones to listen to everything. Yeah,
for sure. And it is interesting. Just to put the nail on the coffin and Cade on here. I'm not that I'm being a Cade hater. I think he's a good player, but I think it's negligent at this point that's happened. He is a free agent. At least the Buccaneers, they didn't re-sign him to an extension. They did that with Zion McCollum. At least they didn't make two mistakes. So we'll see how much he commands in the open market. If I'm the Buccaneers, I let Cade Otton hit free agency and then let the rest of the league decide how much he's worth. I'm not giving him a contract offer until I see what he's truly worth. The Buccaneers have done that a couple times, Matt, like Jamel Dean. He got less money in free agency than he or the Bucs expected, and then re-signed with the team. Wasn't a great decision except for this year, but we'll see. We're also going to see how the Buccaneers are going to do today against the spread, Matt. You and I think both made a lot of money on the Bucs-Rams game, unfortunately, last week. I'm a little gun shy about this spread and in today's game from a betting standpoint. Maybe you can help us out, Matt.
I actually love this line. I saw it at 3 and creeped up a little bit at 3.5, which makes more sense with Baker playing and Bucky Irving. But to me, all the reinforcements coming back makes me think this is the time where the Bucs get off the schneid and they're able to play a full, complete game. They're coming back home as well. I think we have to factor in that Arizona, it's not just that they're coming from West Coast to East Coast. It's that they're playing what is essentially a 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning game, for them with this 1 o'clock start. The NFL didn't bail out the Cardinals with a 4 o'clock game with them coming over. So this is one of the lowest spreads you'll see for the Bucs as a favorite for the remainder of the season, given the rest of the opponents that they have. So I'm actually a big fan of this line. I jumped on it as quickly as I could.
All right. I just jumped on it right now, Matt. You've sold me. Just went and made a bet. So 25 large on Tampa Bay minus 3.5.
There you go.
The point spread for this week's Bucs game, Matt, presented by Splash Sports.
That's right. Get your quick picks in. Download the Splash Sports app today. You do quick picks, weekly pick'em, prize pool, stuff like that. They have tournaments every single week, so it's not like a season-long thing. You can do season-long events with Splash Sports, but if you're feeling good about a slate of NFL games in a week. Do the pick'ems. They got prize pools where you can throw $10 and win $1,000, and they have the best multipliers in daily fantasy sports. So
Yeah.
make sure you download the Splash Sports app.
I got a question here from Lena D. I have a very specific question, Scott and Matt. Do you think they exaggerated the injury of Baker? Did you notice that it seemed like when he walked off that field, he was holding his arm close? Your thoughts on that, Matt?
I don't really know what that means. I mean, he was grabbing his left shoulder or
Yeah,
his
I don't
left
think that was
arm.
exaggerated.
So,
He had a hard time.
yeah, it was. There was 1,000 cameras on it, so
Yeah.
I don't really know where the conspiracy theory is coming from. He was injured. He was in a sling.
Yeah.
I don't know what more could they do. Could they airlift him out of the stadium?
I mean, maybe
sure. I
the
don't really
question
get
is, was Baker exaggerating that? I don't think he was. I think he
don't
was
know.
legitimately
I think that's a
hurt.
stretch.
And sometimes it like I don't know. I'm gonna just go there. Like, when you get racked, right? Like you get kicked in the nuts or something like that, right? It hurts. Like you want to
Yeah.
friggin' die for about 2 minutes, and then about 2-3 minutes later, you're like, God, that really hurts. And then after about 5 or 10 minutes, you're like, like nothing happened. So
Yeah.
maybe this was a kind of a swift kick in the nuts to Baker's shoulder. I don't know. We'll see. Let's carry on with today's preview and get into some of the key matchups to watch. Matt, Tristan Wirfs has not played the best football since the bye week. He's given up 2 sacks, one to Elijah Ponder against the Patriots, and then one last week to Jared Verse. That Verse sack is actually probably better because at least Verse is a first rounder. Elijah Ponder was an undrafted free agent in Tampa Bay out of Cal Poly back in 2022, and he's just kind of a guy. But I think Tristan has got to be that Secret Service guy for Baker Mayfield today. And Josh Sweat is playing. He had an eye injury that he's recovered from, and he's got 9 sacks in the year. He is their most dangerous pass rusher. Matt, I want to give the edge to Tristan Wirfs here, but based upon recent views, recent outings, I'm going to say this is a push.
I'm in the exact same boat with you. I mean, every week I pick Tristan Wirfs because he's arguably the best offensive tackle in football, but he has not looked like the best offensive tackle in football over the past 2 games, I would say. And, it probably wasn't his fault giving up that sack to Jared Verse when Baker kind of held onto the ball and was waiting for a big play to develop. But again, we hold Tristan Wirfs to the highest of standards, and Josh Sweat has done a pretty good job going out to Arizona after having success with the Eagles and stuff like that. So I'm going to give it a push. I still have all the confidence in the world in Tristan Wirfs, but I want him to have a game similar to what he was doing in Buffalo, and maybe that was more in the run blocking scheme, but we'll see.
Luke Gedeke has played. He's been a stud since he's came back. I agree, kind of. I think he has been really good, and at times better than Tristan Wirfs. He's going up against Darius Robinson today, former top pick for the Cardinals. Really kind of good athlete, kind of underachieved in terms of production. But I think Gedeke's on a roll, man. I think he is just, that time away from football where he was doing that rehab on the foot. I think it just really completely pissed him off. He's on a vengeance to prove that he's worth every bit of that contract extension he signed in August. He's playing like a man on a mission. And I think that it's going to continue today. I like Luke Gedeke in this matchup.
Yeah, when players get injured, you keep them out because you hope that they can heal and be terrific when they come back. And that's exactly what Luke Gedeke has done. He's been the belle of the ball since returning from his injury, and he's really held down the fort at right tackle and really stabilized this offensive line when they needed it in the worst way. So I've been super impressed with Luke Gedeke since he's returned. So I'll take him in this matchup.
Then we've got the Bucs running backs versus the Arizona Cardinals linebackers. And, what's interesting is Bucky Irving is back today. We know that. Sean Tucker has been the leading rusher over the last couple of weeks. We know that. Rashad White, at any given moment, he might kind of catch fire and average 5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
The linebackers for the Cardinals are interesting. You got Zaven Collins, a former first round pick. You got Akeem Davis Gaither, who is a really good tackler. Then you have Cody Simon, a rookie who's taken over for Mac Wilson Sr. at the middle linebacker position. It's a pretty good underrated unit. And we'll see how good they are versus Tampa Bay's running backs. But I like the way the running game has come together for the Bucs. It probably has been the best thing that the Bucs have done since the bye week. Matt, is 3 straight games with well over 100 yards. I'm going to go with the Bucs running backs in this.
I'm very intrigued on how they're going to use the running backs. I know Bucky Irving is technically on a pitch count, but will Josh Grizzard stay true with that? Or if Bucky has a big run to start out, do they say, screw it, we got to win this game, let's use Bucky Irving more? Or does Sean Tucker still lead the way in overall rushing attempts for this team? And what's the involvement of Rashad White as well?
Yeah.
There's a couple of ways they can piece together this puzzle. And I know they're saying one thing out loud, but internally it could be a little bit different. So curious about how it will go.
I'm going to pause on a previews because I want to get your opinion on this, Matt. You know, we've kind of given Josh Grizzard some grace, right, in terms of, well, he hasn't had a full deck and all of this. And granted, he still doesn't have Mike Evans or Jalen McMillan. Like, those are facts. Yeah. Those players will not play today. They're not even eligible to play. But you've got 4 out of 5 starting offensive linemen returning. And I'm curious if Dan Sweeney's still going to stay at right guard, or if they're going to go back maybe to Luke Haggard at right guard, because he was the starter for a couple of games at right guard until he suffered that injury against the shoulder injury against the 49ers in that game. And I thought he played okay. He's a bigger guy than Dan Feeney is. But with 4 out of 5 starters on the offensive line for this game, with Baker Mayfield in this game, with Bucky Irving back in this game, are the excuses kind of over and out for Josh Grizzard? I feel like he really has to call a really good game, and the Bucs need to put up, well over 20 points today.
Yeah, I think this group needs to be aggressive. I wouldn't hate if they went a little up-tempo, no huddle for a little bit as well. And, we've reached the point with Josh Grizzard where there's been some peaks and valleys. He looked good earlier in the season. Then the injuries kind of, started to expound and expand even more. I think the Bucs need at least 24, 25 points today for us to feel comfortable about Josh Grizzard. I don't think he should be fired or anything like that, but he's certainly not in the potential head coaching conversation as well. He's due for a big game, and maybe having all the pieces in front of him and all the ingredients can make for a great recipe today.
I hope so. And I think with the return of some of these starters, especially along the offensive line and with Bucky, this is not the game where Tampa Bay's offense needs to stall out with 13, 14, 17 points. I think you need to be in the mid-20s at least and get a win, and we'll see. Emeka Egbuka, he's been quiet lately, and he's going up against Will Johnson, who is one of the top picks in Arizona. He is going to play today. He's been a little bit banged up, but this will be a battle of players that know each other quite well. Former Michigan cornerback, former Ohio State wide receiver. This is on the heels of the game yesterday where Ohio State beat Michigan at Michigan. So this has got some interesting flavor to it, this matchup. How do you see this? I think it might be a push. I would love to see Emeka Egbuka get over 100 yards again. It's been a while, but I'm not sure if today's the day. I'm going to go with the push on this.
Yeah, I'm a little bullish on Emeka Egbuka, so I'm actually going to go with Will Johnson in this matchup. I mean, Emeka Egbuka had a good game against the Patriots, don't get me wrong, but besides that, I don't know. He's been pretty quiet since that blow-up game against the Seahawks, and that was in September. He's cooled off, man. It's unfortunate to see, but I don't know. He's not really your stud wide receiver anymore. He just hasn't been. I mean, he was pedestrian last week. He was pedestrian 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you can count on him to be the consistent producer, the consistent guy that's going to move the chains for this team. I just haven't seen it lately. And I love Emeka Egbuka. I still think he's got a chance to win Rookie of the Year, but I don't know. He hasn't done anything that's like stood out especially over the last 2 games. I think it'd be crazy to just put blind faith in
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, I agree, and I think Emeka, when it's all said and done, is a replacement, ideally for Chris Godwin. He's a legit number 2 receiver, and I think he has shown he plays far better against zone covers than man. We'll see how the Cardinals play him today with how much zone, how much man, how much coverage do they roll his direction. I'm with you on that. Baker Mayfield versus Buda Baker. Baker on Baker
Chris
crime
Baker.
here.
Yeah.
Buda Baker can affect the quarterback in many ways. He is a great blitzer. Reminds me so much of Rondé Barber, just coming from that safety position in the slot. He sacked Trevor Lawrence. He had an interception. He can do it all. He can tackle. He can blitz. He can pick off passes. He can force fumbles. He is their Antoine Winfield Jr., and he is kind of an ageless wonder. He is having another good year for the Cardinals. Been to the Pro Bowl many, many times. How do you see Baker Mayfield in his return today versus Buda Baker, who really, if the Cardinals are going to win, Matt, he needs to step up and have a big game?
I think it's going to be a great game for Baker. Which Baker am I talking about? Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of tough to decipher this one with all the injury going on with Baker Mayfield. So I'll go with the push. I think Buda
I'm going to go
Baker's
with the push too. Yeah.
a great safety. I'm still bitter about him taking the Pro Bowl spot from Antoine Winfield
I
Jr.
know. Yeah.
2 seasons ago, but he's certainly proven to be Pro Bowl caliber and Pro Bowl worthy. So I'm going to go with the push, just again because we don't know what's going on with Baker.
I agree. I think each Baker is going to have their share of plays today, so I think it's going to be a push as well.
We have a $5 super chat from Zap Daddy, so thank you. Who says, SR, would you rather have a 51-year-old Simeon Rice or Chris Braswell on the field?
I would rather have 51-year-old Simeon Rice. Now, I don't know if 51, if he can make it through a whole game. I don't know, because football is a young man sport.
Play him on third downs. He'll be fine.
Exactly. I was getting ready to say, as my situational pass rusher, if you're going to give me like one series, right, like 4 to 8 plays, like Simeon Rice all day long. I still think Simeon Rice could abuse a tackle in this game and possibly get a sack. I mean, even at 51. Now, he might be wrecked on Monday. It might not be a victory Monday for Simeon Rice, because trust me, I'm a couple years older at 53, and yeah, even when I do yard work or something, I'm feeling it the next day. It sucks getting old, as my dad would say. Let's take a look at our key matchups: Bucs defense versus Cardinals offense. The Bucs linebackers versus Trey McBride. This guy is an absolute monster. The Buccaneers loved him coming out of Colorado State. In hindsight, he should have been the pick at number 33 instead of Logan Hall. He has been a touchdown machine, coming off a 1,000-yard season last year. I think he only had 3 touchdowns. He's got 7 touchdowns this year. He and Jacoby Brissett, that is the red zone connection. McBride has 80 catches already. He is on pace for 124 catches. That would be the most ever by a tight end in a single season. I mean, we're talking like better than Tony Gonzalez, better than some of the best tight ends ever to play. Rob Gronkowski, you think of guys like that. We love Levante David, the younger version, rather than the current day version. We saw him give up a touchdown in the red zone to Colby Parkinson, just kind of a step slow in that red zone area. And Servastier Dennis, he had an interception off a tip pass in Buffalo, not exactly like a coverage read. To me, and it's going to be more than just the linebackers. The safeties will be involved too. But I like Trey McBride versus any Buccaneer who's trying to cover him. I just think he's uncoverable right now. I'm going to go with McBride.
Yeah, this is a blowout for Trey McBride. I mean, the Bucs linebackers have been so inconsistent, so all over the place. And I'm talking more about Servastier Dennis than I am Levante David. And we're talking about one of the best tight ends in the league, if not the best. So it's not even close in this matchup.
Yep. The Bucs cornerbacks versus Cardinals receivers. And it's important to note the Buccaneers will have Jamel Dean back. That's a good sign for today. Jamel Dean not only needs to come back, he needs to stay back. He needs to be the guy that comes away with passes and picks them off and knocks the ball out of people's hands. He's got 2 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, and a sack this year. That's the guy the Bucs need today. And he needs to play the entire game because Benjamin Morrison will be out again. But Marvin Harrison Jr. will play today. He's had kind of an up and down season, but it's better that he's on the field for Arizona than he's not. And then you got another receiver who I think can give Zion McCollum some problems if Harrison draws Jamel Dean, and that's Michael Wilson, a big-bodied receiver, kind of quietly put together a pretty good year. This is a big 1-2 punch for Arizona in terms of size. Both of these receivers have some size, and Zion McCollum needs a bounce-back game in the worst way. I almost want to give the advantage to the Cardinals receivers in this game because I think Tampa Bay will have the lead and the Cardinals will have to throw the ball to catch up. I don't really have a lot of faith in Arizona's ground game today. So to me, Matt, I think the Cardinals receivers are going to get plenty of action and I actually like them versus the Bucs cornerbacks.
So this is a situation where if this graphic said Jamel Dean versus Cardinals wide receivers, I'm taking Jamel Dean. But if it was Zion McCollum versus Cardinals wide receivers, I'm taking the Cardinals.
Right.
So you add that in and subtract it, it's got to be a push based on the two Bucs corners.
Well said. Hassan Reddick returns. He's not going up against Jonah Williams, the right tackle for Arizona. He's on injured reserve. He's not going up against Kelvin Beachum, the backup. No, he's going up against Josh Fryer, who is expected to start. He is the third string tackle. Now, we did see Hassan Reddick go up against a third string tackle before in the first game of the season, and that was in Atlanta. Reddick did have a sack, but it wasn't like he dominated that particular matchup. He had a big sack on third down, had some pressures, made his presence felt, but it wasn't like he overwhelmed Atlanta right out of the gates. I'm not sure at 31 he can overwhelm people anymore, but I'm going to give Hassan Reddick the benefit of the doubt here in his return. I think he's highly motivated down the stretch to make an impact, not just for the Bucs, but for himself, because he will be a free agent next year. So I'm going to go with Hassan Reddick versus the third string right tackle for the Cardinals.
I guess I'll go with a push. I'm not really sure what we're going to get from Hassan Reddick, but I don't think he's earned the benefit of the doubt with the Bucs this season.
Fair point. Yaya Diaby versus Paris Johnson Jr. Yaya has gone up against a lot of first-round picks. So, it's not uncommon for teams to, especially drafting high, to draft an offensive tackle, a left tackle with their first-round pick. And I think Yaya has had an up-and-down season in terms of he's made some splash plays, but it's been a splash more so than a steady wave, right, from Yaya. It's like we've seen a sack, but we haven't seen him really take over games. I'm going to say this is a push. Paris Johnson is a fine player. I think he's got the ability to keep Yaya at bay for most of the game, but there might be a game-changing sack that Yaya comes through for. The big news is the Cardinals, they're near the bottom in the league in terms of sacks allowed. They've gotten 40 sacks this year. So I think somebody's going to get to the quarterback today, and somebody's going to make their presence felt. And I wouldn't be surprised if Yaya is one of those guys that has a sack today.
Let's hope so. It almost feels like Yaya fell into that sack on Matthew Stafford last week on Sunday night against the Rams.
Kinda, yeah.
I got to go with Paris Johnson. I mean, I'm kind of done with this Bucs pass rush. Every time I doubt Yaya Diaby, that's when he starts making plays and getting a sack. So I hope that continues. I'd love to be wrong about Yaya Diaby. So there's no way I can pick him because I want the Bucs to win.
There you go. Defensive tackle Vita Vea versus right guard Isaiah Adams. He's filling in for the injured Will Hernandez, who is out. So maybe it's gone from bad to worse for Arizona. Their pass protection has not been good to begin with, but now they're going to be down 2 offensive linemen on the right side. So I think Vita Vea probably, he's been very quiet. I've kind of gotten on his case a little bit. This, I think, is a get-well game for him as well, because the last time he has really touched the quarterback or affected a quarterback, he had half a sack against the 49ers. Only has 2.5 sacks this season after really kind of contending for the team lead in each of the last 2 years. 2 sacks against the Eagles. Man, Matt, that was way back in week 4. We have just not seen him be that dominant pass rush presence. Maybe that returns today. I think it needs to happen for the Buccaneers.
Definitely seems like a little bit of a step back for Vita Vea. But at the same time, I get the feeling he plays better at home in Raymond James Stadium for whatever reason. You
Yeah.
mentioned the 2 sacks against the Eagles. That
Yeah.
was in Ray J. So I think some home cooking is in
Yeah.
store for Vita Vea today.
Yeah. And home cooking, that's going to be the theme for the next couple of weeks. The Buccaneers have 3 games at
Yes.
home, starting with today against the Arizona Cardinals. And just want to remind everybody that we're not done here at Pewter Report in terms of our podcast. Oh, no, not even close. It's a busy game day. That means it's a Pewter game day. That kicks off at 1 o'clock with Matt Matera and Daniel Morales.
That's right. Daniel and I will be on at 1 o'clock, giving play-by-play, reactions, analysis, and we keep it super interactive with everybody in the chat. So if you don't want to listen to the traditional play-by-play broadcast that goes on when the Bucs are on TV, listen to myself and Daniel. We'll be breaking it down in depth for this Bucs versus Cardinals game.
And the return of Bucky Irving today. Let's hope Bucky can have a big game. I think that it would be cool to hear Bucky at the stadium again today. Bucs versus Cardinals post-game podcast on about an hour after the game today. We're going to do post-game reaction in the locker room. We'll have Todd Bowles, Baker Mayfield. Then we'll get some reaction from the players. So figure about around 5 o'clock is when we'll have today's Bucs versus Cardinals post-game podcast right here on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, and also streaming live on X and Facebook. If you're looking to watch today's game and you're not going to be at the stadium, well, there's a couple options. Number one, you can go over to Walk-Ons, where game days are better. There at Walk-Ons, big screens, not a bad seat in the house. The game's going to be on everywhere. Bold snacks, all the hype. 3 Tampa Bay area locations: Wesley Chapel, Midtown Tampa, and Lakeland. Maybe you're heading out to the stadium, or maybe you're deciding to watch the game at home. Well, let Walk-Ons Catering serve up the win for you today. Take your event to the next level with the new catering program at Walk-Ons. Order directly online at catering.walkons.com or on the app, and then go pick it up at one of those 3 Tampa Bay area locations: Wesley Chapel, Midtown Tampa, and Lakeland. Still plenty of time to get your orders in if you're on the way to the stadium, or if you are going to be watching the game at home. Maybe you're having a watch party with some friends or family over. Make Walk-Ons your choice for food today. Their food is fantastic. And again, if you can't make it to the game, maybe you go watch the game over at Walk-Ons. They'll have all the games on, not just the Buccaneers game, but a fantastic place to watch football. Matt, any prop bets that you have? Your latest Pewter picks and props, which I'm going to put in the chat right now, is out. But give us one of those picks that you like.
Yeah, I'm done with Kate Otten's BS. Wear gloves, catch the damn football. So I'm taking the under on his receiving yards. Not just because I'm done with his BS, but also I think Bucky Irving coming back, even though he's going to be on the pitch count. Remember, Bucky had more of an impact as a receiving running back than he did a runner. So I think Kate Otten's going to be the one that suffers a little bit from Bucky Irving returning in terms of like targets and effectiveness. So Kate Otten doesn't have any yards after the catch ability or anything like that. Yeah. So I'm taking the under on his receiving yards in this game.
You know what? I like that prop bet. I think I'm going to jump all over that too. And think about that, Matt. That's why you are Matty Diamonds when it comes to Pewter picks and props. I just put that link to Matt's video in the chat, so make sure we're going to be done here in a minute. Make sure you watch that video. Also, we got my latest Pewter Pulse video. No excuses for Todd Bowles, Josh Grizzard of the Buccaneers. Starting today, they need to get on a winning streak, and they cannot afford to lose this game. So check that video out for my analysis as well. And we greatly appreciate everybody for joining us for Pewter Pregame today.
Yeah, appreciate each and every one of you. And if you're not already doing so, please make sure you're following us on all of our social medias on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We're at Pewter Report. And our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video what you think is going to happen in today's game between the Bucs and the Cardinals, with the Bucs back home in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium. That's going to do it for us this morning. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you soon for another edition of the Pewter Pregame Show. Out.